Oops. Let's do this. What? That's better.
PJ, Al, and Ryan in the house. How you guys doing?
Oh, good, sir. Okay. Good to see you.
All right. But it's good to have you guys.
So evidently, Mouse here is going to expose the nonsense. Keep in mind, this is Flatzoid who said on a live stream, that the only way you could possibly see, hey, Rachie, the only way you could possibly see, look up straight from the South Pole, look straight up, and see circular star trails would be if the Earth was a globe. Wally presented him with that, and he refuses to concede that the Earth is a globe. So that just shows the honesty of this piece of shit right here. This little mouse man.
Oh, Roger's back. Okay. It's good to see you guys. Thank you for coming. Really, really gonna have a fun one tonight, I think. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard some exciting things about it. So
how much do you plan to watch though?
The whole thing.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good, Heiko. Halko.
I but like for this first part of it though.
I don't know. We'll see how far we get. Like I said, I haven't watched anything of it yet. So this is really fresh towards me.
Sometimes it's hard for us to get out the first couple of minutes of a video. So this one being 7 hours long, it might take 3.5 years to finish. But
yeah, that video, it's almost 8 hours long, has almost every debunker in it. Almost.
But it's good to see you guys. Everybody in the YouTube land.
Watching in 5 times the speed.
Appreciate you all in YouTube land. Please hit that like, share the show. You guys are awesome. Appreciate everybody here. Okay. So I'm probably going to have to share it. Let's see if I can get it up. Why is it not giving me?
Oh, absolutely, Rachie. You are absolutely correct.
A choice to share it.
That's probably better.
I closed it. Sorry about that. Let me get it quickly.
Check.
I am so smart. This is very professional, guys.
I'm the same with my streams.
I didn't even realize I closed it. That's the thing. Okay. Sorry, I had to rush off to work.
So, yeah, I mean, we can take a look at what Flatzoid said. Look up where's Wally, actually. Just look down here. And go to videos. Where was it? It was one of these. I think it was this one. Yeah, here we go.
Excuse number 1, the Globies won't actually go and the Globies will fake the flight. Well, I guess we can sort that out real easy.
Find out they faked it by going to Disney Epcot.
That graph.
A link to that video and to his GoFundMe will be in the description as always. And please, let's get Critical Think there, because if any flatties dare to go, then Critical Think is just the type of guy to be there to keep them honest. And
So, SSUM, Dave said, oh, they could just drop them off at Epcot Center and say it's the Antarctica. No, they couldn't, because if they dropped them off at the Epcot Center, they'd notice that it's a lot cleaner than the Antarctic, than the Antarctica, like unusually clean.
then I woke up this morning to hear Flatzoid doing his Flatzoid 11 best to cope, to excuse himself from going and to prove something that he claims doesn't happen.
You know, this Antarctic trip, do you guys really think they're going to go?
Not really. No.
No,
Oh,
not
we
really.
Globies are going for sure. Can you imagine coming back with 48 hours of video time-lapse and the sun was above the horizon the whole time? Fantastic flat earth poking stuff that would be to have. And to be able to say you got it yourself, that is a real gem.
I highly doubt they're going to go.
I want to see him get on the plane and get off of it. I want to film the whole thing, dude. Beginning.
How about you go? If you go, you wouldn't have to see a film of it. You could actually experience it. See, that's their out. Oh, well, that film, oh, that's fake. That's CGI. Oh, that's in reverse. Oh, it's looped. Yeah, it's just excuses. Excuses from the ignorant.
Man.
Well, there is excuse number one. The Globies won't actually go, and the Globies will fake the flight.
Yep.
Well, I guess we can sort that out real easy.
Find out they faked it by going to Disney Epcot.
Yeah, see, that's why I said no, because Disney Epcot would be clean and pristine. Antarctica probably has some dirt on the ground.
You see, they're at the zoo standing in front of some penguins with a fan blowing on them. Yeah, we're in Antarctica. Yeah.
I mean,
Throw
think
confetti
about
in the air. Yeah.
I mean, think what they're going to do if they do end up going. They're probably going to go there like, oh, shit, we're wrong, guys. Now we have to make up some kind of edited video and pass it out as real.
Excuse number two. They go, and any videos will be deemed to be edited and fake. Well, that's straight out the flat earth.
You mean like when you see a video and you don't like what it shows, so you edit out 11 frames to make it support your narrative? I mean like that?
Playbook? I hope you do realise that you will not be able to claim faked when you didn't go. You really think that from your basement you will have the greater weight of proof, and that the team of 3 or 4 Globies all taking videos of themselves and the location and the 24-hour sun? Seriously, if you don't go...
Yeah, absolutely, Wally. I mean, you've been at this long enough to know that nuh-uh outweighs all evidence presented.
We really don't think you have any hope of debunking it. I mean, is that not exactly what you said to me when I was pointing out all your fail in the Skegness wind turbine from here in my comfort of Australia? Luckily for me, though, in that case, you had provided all the evidence for me to point out the many errors and fails. I don't think you're going to have any such luck with our stuff. If you think that we're going to be sloppy as wobbly tripod McCann, you have another thing coming. Now, Critical Think is a very smart electrical engineer, and Dave McKeegan is a professional photographer. There's not going to be any cracks in any evidence from these boys. Get used to that fact right now. But I digress.
Yeah.
And then they're also going to be like, how can I put it? Like we were also saying before, why do they need to go if they're so confident in their globe?
Because you guys say it's impossible to see it, and that's the only way that it could be a spherical Earth is if we saw that. So see, it's your evidence that they're going for. They're doing your legwork for you, buddy, and you don't like it because it's going to happen, right? You had excuses before. It's kind of like with the border policy. You know, if the Republicans vote for it and create a good border policy, then they don't have anything to run on in the 2024 election. They don't have a policy to run on. You know, they'll fix this if they get back into office. So the person whose only Running point is that. Told them not to vote for it so that he'll have something to run on. And then they whine and cry that we don't have border policy. Isn't that hilarious? It's the same way with flat earthers. They whine and cry, oh, you show us the 24-hour sun and we'll believe you. Oh, shit, you're going? Oh, well, that's not evidence. You shouldn't even go. I don't even know why they're going. They're going to prove you wrong, assholes. Once and fucking for all. And you guys are too fucking cowardly to do an experiment.
Yeah. I thought they'd already proven this. Why do they have to?
Oh yeah, we've proven it many times. See, the point was to bring one of you dumb motherfuckers along, or a bunch of you dumb motherfuckers along, to prove it to you, to let you see it for yourself. See, that's the only way an idiot can be convinced of anything, is if they actually see it and do it for themselves. See, pieces of shit like you don't trust anybody, but you trust yourselves, and that's the point. Now you're making excuses. I mean, you made excuses for the Eratosthenes experiment that they've done for the last few years. You know, you've made excuses for measuring the shadow on the equinox. You made excuses for that. You can't do anything. You can't do anything. You're useless. All you can do is say nuh-uh to things that have actually been done by other people. It's fucking sad.
Prove it again.
Excuse number 3. Why did they need to go if they already know that they are right? Well, this is a new way of coping that I've not heard before. Now, I thought that it was so obvious that we wanted to go to Antarctica purely to take flatties to Antarctica to see them see it. The final experiment is more about flatties having the intestinal fortitude to test their own claims. And this leaves me speechless. I am actually without speech.
See, that's suspicious in the first place. They already said that it was,
But anyway,
This is in the air.
what I was looking for is here, not over here. So
Firstly, you are strawmanning the 24 hours of light
let's go
sun way
back
in
a
the
little
south.
bit.
They're not going to see the sun. And note we are able to explain the daylight because of the dome.
Yeah.
They can't because
Right, the dome that you've not proven exists. See, you have to prove that there's a dome, right? You have to prove that there's a dome before you can say the dome exists.
they need to see the literal sun the whole 24 hours.
You got
There-
the
there is no-
fluorescent. You've got fluorescing of gases as well.
No, you don't. You know how much energy it takes to fluoresce a gas, you moron? Do you know how much energy is put into a neon tube to get it to fluoresce? But hold on.
But I'm just a dumb flirter. I wouldn't know anything.
All right.
Wow.
Exactly. Excitement of gases in the air.
Firstly, you are strawmanning the 24 hours of light. No, we are saying 24 hours of the direct seeing the sun, burning your retinas without a filter, disk with sunspot over the horizon at all points of the compass for a full 24-hour period nonetheless. So your excuse, not so much. Thanks, guys.
Have you guys ever thought about it? Has someone stood under the GP of Polaris before and looked up?
Not that I know of.
Not directly, no.
Okay. Now, has anybody gone and done the same with Sigma Octantis in the southern celestial pole?
Not to my recollection. No.
And are they supposed to be quite
Not to my recollection. You've never looked, asshole. You've never ever looked. Or else you would have found it.
close to the southern celestial pole in Antarctica, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they should be able to theoretically stand up and look at the south celestial pole right above them. Why is this never shown?
Being shown right now. And I'm pretty sure you saw the video. Let's see if we can find his name here. He would have been pinned with a pin of shame. But I have a feeling that he deliberately stayed away from this video because of that. Because he's usually there commenting on Wally's videos, I believe. So yeah, he's not there. What's the matter, Flatzoid? What's the matter, Mouse?
Mm.
Cat got your tongue?
But think
Just
about
not
it.
a-
That's one thing. I've looked. I can't find anything on it.
Oh, you looked, really? Huh. Are you looking now? Are you looking now?
It's just
Wow.
something that's just popped into my mind this today when I was thinking. I was like, but wouldn't that show a globe then if they had to show both celestial poles by standing underneath it on the GP? And no one.
Yeah, they have. This is the South Celestial Pole, which is impossible on a flat Earth. The North Celestial Pole, yeah, that could happen on a flat Earth, but not this one. Not this one, buddy.
shows that.
See, this is the deal breaker. This is the linchpin that hangs flat Earth.
Why is that?
They can't.
That's a
That's
good question.
really odd.
So what he's actually saying is, if I would have seen it, then that would have been proof, right? If I would have seen it, that would have eased my mind, and I would have conceded, right? That's what a normal person would say in this situation.
You know, because they go to Antarctica and they're claiming the South Celestial Pole. I
Yeah.
think the one camp that Duffy's also pushing from these guys is like literally there in the South Pole. So that means they should see Sigma Octantis right above them.
Yeah, that would make sense.
See the South Celestial Pole around them. And this is not documented. You see, it's
Really, but it is though. It is. See this video? It's right over here. Look over here, man.
it's a very faint kind of thing. They say, oh, because it has to be the South Celestial Pole because we have a North Celestial Pole on the globe.
Well, if we have satellites that go over the pole, can they zoom in on Cygnus Nautantis? They can turn around right there.
Because the final experiment completely destroys flat Earth. That's why. That's why. Hey, Osimo. That's why. They're terrified of it.
It is the same with
But I mean-
Polaris too.
Yeah. But I mean, if you think about it, wouldn't that show more or less that your globe's false because you're not able to show two actual celestial poles from the GPS on the ground?
Right. Which and the adverse of that is that if we are able to show that, you will concede that it is a globe, right? Nah, you'll never concede because you're a dishonest little shit.
That would make sense. Yeah. No,
Hey.
they don't.
Hey, Stanley.
So that's just my 2 cents on this. So, well, Duffy, if you guys do go, that should be in the homework you guys should do.
Yeah.
Try and get the South Celestial Pole above you.
Right. They just did. So that he's saying right here that would be proof that there is a that the Earth is a globe. See, that's what he's saying right here.
Yeah.
Well, they won't be able to
So you still won't look over here, man. Look over here. Look over here. See, he's purposefully avoiding looking right here.
get it if it's a midnight sun. It's going to be fun all the time.
Yeah. But it's
not
just something
going
I was thinking about. I was like,
Let's see. Do I have oh shoot. Where is it? Oh, I thought I had it in here. I'm looking for the yeah, I'm looking for the uh oh shit. Oh, it's the music. Dun, 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 dun. Shit, I can't remember the name of the show. Larry David. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, see, this is the dishonesty of this sack of shit. Because if you go here, where is it? When are you going to concede since being shown evidence you asked for and said would only be possible on a globe Earth? We don't live in a space ball, sorry. So he's not honest enough to concede when he's shown the evidence that he requested. That's what a lying fuck this guy is. And actually, let me here we go. Orthographic, Gary Boy Benga says, and I bet him $100 that orthographic matches perspective. But Gary says, Jesus Christ. See, I bet him $100. And he it doesn't measure elevation angles don't match orthographic, but they do, Gary. They do. Actually, I don't need to open a new window. We can go to my channel, go to videos, and where is it? Where the fuck is it? Is it live? The fuck happened to my video? Huh. Well, that's weird. Where is my video? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? That video is gone. Okay. I'll have to find it. But I mean, well here, let's I can find it later. But I mean, as we saw in my debate with Brian Leakey, I definitely proved that orthographic matches perspective on an elevation angle. So Gary's just a lying sack of shit, and I proved it. So
To get everything set up, and it's like I had a very busy day at work today. Okay, woohoo! Okay, we set up. We're gonna do it this way. We can all see beautiful. Okay, so right, guys, you can stop me anytime you need to say.
Oh, and by the way, I love Amazon payments. I really do. So I ordered a didn't have to pay anything this month. Was able to order a set of airbrush paints, a set of 10 siphon feed bottles, and a Pache H airbrush set, which is this right here. It's a classic siphon feed single action Pache airbrush, and comes with the 1, 3, and 5 tips and needles, 2 bottles, a wrench, air hose, Allen key, hanger, and drip cup. So that will come in handy. And like I said, didn't have to pay a penny this month. So it kind of fit into my budget. I'll have to pay, I think, $13 a month for the next year. But yeah, that's easy enough. So anyway,
Something, just say aye, and then we'll stop.
Will do. Well,
But how's this for his thing? Flatlined, exposing what flat earthers really believe. So he can divine a person's belief systems, guys.
Yes, yes, he can. Yes.
Exactly.
He can divine what a person thinks.
There's no point in exposing it. I mean, ask us.
No putting an expose on it.
We'll tell you.
There's nothing to expose when we have like hundreds of hours on YouTube of what we believe.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Yeah. There are hundreds of hours of what you believe, and it's all shit a toddler wouldn't think.
Like,
what
I'm
I
exposing their secrets that they put on YouTube, but no ads for free.
But what I find really weird that he look at his thumbnail. The one it's like what I use now with my phrase at front. Using again a straw man, flat Earth in space.
But to his credit, he does acknowledge that it is a straw man. He does actually go over that. How like most people think that's what we believe, but it's not.
No, see, that's not a straw man. What model is he straw manning? What is he straw manning, Flatzoid? You don't have a model. There's nothing to straw man. You come up with a model, measurements, and a map. Yeah, and then there will be something to straw man if we portray that as something other than what you say it is. But until you come up with that, man, suck it up, cupcake. Deal with it, snowflake, and cope.
So just to give him some credit, he does later on say, no, this is false. They actually
hold my pocket.
Believe in this, and he like represents it properly.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Like I said, me and Veritas have been Veritas. We have been talking a bit in Discord, but I did ask him if he wants to have a discussion, and he seems not to want to.
It's easier for him to just run you through the coals if he can not hear you.
I mean, it'd be the same thing as debating him, right? Reviewing a video of Flatoids is just as good as debating him, because all you have to do is just pause your video, wait a few minutes, and that's where Flatzoid would say nuh-uh, because that's all he has is nuh-uh. So it's just as valid, because Flatzoid doesn't input anything valid to the argument.
Defend yourself. You know.
So what I did is though, that's why I said let's maybe we can have a debate then, since he doesn't have a discussion because he feels it's not going to be honest to talk to flat earthers.
Right, never is, because you come in as a bad faith actor, always. Like you said, you'd bring evidence when you debated MC2, right? You didn't. You lied. You said you'd have evidence when you debated me. You didn't. You lied. So you're not doing this in good faith. You're doing this to support a biased agenda. So that you can't prove.
Like, what kind of excuse is that?
Wow.
So Veritas, if you don't want to do it just as a discussion, we can debate if that's really how you want to discuss with me. It's fine. I think it's a bit cowardish, to be honest, to say, let me make stuff about flat earth, but I refuse to talk to flat earther. So I think that's
kind of cowardly to block someone and then talk shit about them, right? That would be just as cowardly, right?
a bit of a cheap shot. You know what I mean? It's not really the right thing to do.
You fucking hypocritical little snowflake pussy ass bitch.
No.
But he's always welcome to come. I did tag him in. I tagged you. I put his video up. You guys can go and watch it. Also, 7 hours long. We're definitely going to go through it. Almost 8 hours. But yeah, he's definitely welcome to.
Yeah, at the rate that they review a video, they should be done in about 2 days from now. They show 2 minutes of a video and then they talk about it for 2 hours. And then they show another 2 minutes of a video and then they talk about it for another hour and a half. Hey, Sun Express, how you doing? Good to have you here. Always good to see a new face. Pretty sure Okay, I know that he's a. Fuck. Pretty sure any flirt would get tooled trying to debate that guy. He spent a lot of time researching flirt nonsense in order to make an 8-hour movie. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know you meant fooled. I can read past typos.
To come have a conversation, a
Yeah.
debate, or whatever he wants. I just feel it's a bit low blow not to want to actually talk to Flat Earther even after making such, I don't know, such a long video.
Almost 8 hours long.
Yeah. But to be fair, most
Wow.
of these videos aren't that long, these streams, though. Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yours are 2 hours long and you don't say shit the whole time. You just spew horse shit.
Well, I'm just scared of the music, so when it does music stuff, I'll just mute
Mute.
it.
Oh, aye, because of like potential copyright issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
He does know that people that do this, though, are usually people that only get into Flat Earth.
Aye.
Yeah.
Man, my audience is already restricted on TikTok, and what do we say?
Probably lied your ass off or talked about vaccines or some shit. Probably, or 9/11 or something like that.
Restricted how?
Yeah, the other night as well, it restricted TikTok restricted my audience. It's like, what
And
did we
losing
do
faith
now
in
wrong?
TikTok.
Oh, don't worry about that much. It could be something really small. It really might not be anything even related to the subject.
Weird.
TikTok's
Hey,
weird.
busy guys.
If you say something about government, for instance, it'll do that. So
Okay. Well, there's obviously going to come some really controversial stuff up, obviously, with this guy. So we'll see what happens.
yeah, don't be surprised if it doesn't get pulled off TikTok.
Oh, music again. Sorry.
That reminds me of the music from 300.
Oh, yeah.
300, a little like that.
Oh, man. Does he have to have McToon laughing? Oh, man.
Fake.
Obviously.
There's a fake sun. This is about one thing. They're taking six.
Trey Cation. Yeah, there's Mr. Cation himself.
You're lying. You're lying. And he's just sitting there giggling like a little girl, like, oh, you're the silly one for thinking everybody's liars. So man doesn't lie, no?
But look at this.
No, he doesn't. No, when it comes to science, no, he doesn't lie. But you lie your ass off. We've proven that. So,
Guy is
Oh, I'm
like
calling
looking at
bullshit
what's wrong
already.
with you, dude.
Mm,
That's actually a face of disgust towards you, McToon, by the way.
aye, absolutely.
That's like, what's this grown ass baby laughing about?
Tee-heeing and tittering all over the place.
really? You're going to accuse him of tee and tittering all over the place? Wow. No sense of self-awareness whatsoever. None. Hey, Glover Mom. Did you see PJ Cruikshank just criticize someone of laughing a lot?
I mean, think of it this way.
One of these days I'm going to do just a compilation of laughing from their show. Matter of fact, I could probably do that with the one that I've already downloaded.
If you see a grown ass guy in there, a person's giving an argument, for instance sake, and he's sitting there laughing like a little child.
The guy's probably saying something incredibly fucking stupid, like this guy did. Yeah, that's why he's laughing, because the guy's ignorant as fuck. And see, you guys are comedy for smart people. That's what you are. Since Frasier went off the air, we've really got nothing to laugh at. Then you guys came along and filled the niche.
To tell you about the maturity of the guy.
Exactly that. Exactly what it demonstrates. He's a child, immature. I mean, it's okay to be immature now and again, but to be a
He
child.
lives in his grandma's basement.
Wow.
I mean, let's put it this way: he plays with toys.
Lego?
constantly.
No, he puts Legos together that are science based, that are based on like NASA or science. That's what he does.
Yeah, he's always
Hey, that's not fair. I play
very
with Lego.
childish. He's immature.
Legos are W. Come
Yeah.
on, come on. Legos are cool.
Yeah, the Legos are cool, you fuckwit. See, he's just jealous. That's all he is. Just jealous.
Yeah,
They're
not
cool,
spaced
but I'll
together.
admit I don't do it for like I don't do it because I need to make money or anything. I just play with
I play with
my
Lego, but
friends.
with my children. I play with Lego, but with my children. Otherwise, not myself.
So you've played with Legos. That makes you a child, right? Because you're playing with a child's toy. Doesn't matter the circumstance, man. It doesn't matter. If you're going to criticize someone for playing with Legos and you play with Legos, that makes you a hypocritical shit cunt, Flatzoid. And PJ Crookshank criticizing someone about laughing a lot. Fuck you, you hypocritical fuck. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? These fucking unself-aware motherfuckers have the audacity to criticize other people for what they fucking do themselves.
think I've grown out of that.
I mean,
All right, well, you
like,
got me
you
beat
know,
on being a tough guy because I play with by
Jesus.
myself.
Lego.
I mean, SSUM said, well, why would a person lose his shit a lot? This is why. Because you motherfuckers are so goddamn hypocritical, so dishonest. That's why you trigger people.
Is cool all the time. Like I don't even care. I like Lego, even though I don't really use it
I'm sorry,
anymore.
I do too. I mean,
You should just
I mean,
upgrade and go to Meccano,
I'm not
man.
against using it against somebody, but I mean,
You can't really bash a man for like using Lego.
No, I like Meccano. I
I
prefer
can.
Meccano
well, at
myself.
least he's creative.
See, PJ, he was dead set against Lego when Flatzoid was against it. But then we've got a majority here that say, yeah, Lego's cool, man. What are you down on Lego for? PJ Crookshank just jumped right on that, didn't he? Hey, I like Lego. Lego's good now because the majority of people like it. See, I don't want to be in the minority. I don't want to be in the minority. I want to be where the popular people are. What a piece of fucking garbage this guy is.
I
Meccano is
can
brilliant.
get bash him because he's always trying to use it as some kind of leverage as if he's smart. Like when he
No, he never uses Lego to leverage that he's smart. He's already smart, man. He's already smarter than you. He just puts Legos together as a break from debunking you idiots. That's what he does. And they make cool shelf ornaments. So what's your fucking problem, man?
sits with his Rubik's cube. Look at me, Rubik's cube. Oh.
You ever done a Rubik's Cube? Can you solve one, Flatzoid? Can you solve one? You could if you took one apart and put it back together, right? So you're just jealous. You're just a jealous fuck. Look at him being jealous at all. I mean, this is what an 8-year-old does, man. A 6-year-old does.
Oh. It's the same thing. The guy's just it's everything put together that makes it childish.
So solving a Rubik's cube, it makes you childish. Okay.
I mean, I know grown men that have Lego and then they actually build a whole room full. But that's cool. That's a different story.
How is that a different story? So a person that devotes their life to Lego, that's good. But someone who just builds one or two things they're childish. Have you devoted your life to Lego, Flatzoid? How many things have you built with your kids? See, that's hypocrisy. That's you being a hypocritical shit cunt.
But he literally just plays with it.
A Rubik's Cube is
McToon and cool, like in the same
probably be sitting
sentence, makes no sense.
I think if you had to put a hidden camera, you'll probably see him there with his rocket.
Hey, you think so? You think that's what you'd see? Okay. What are you laughing at? Why are you laughing? Why is Money Shot laughing?
Everybody in here realizes that you can solve a Rubik's cube by making the same moves over and over and over, right?
No, you can't. I mean, it's an algorithm. Depending on where you start, man, you just can't make the same moves over and over again. It depends on where you start, how it's disordered. See, you're an idiot who's never even seen a Rubik's cube, never even tried.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. I've never
Yeah,
solved
you just
Yeah, there's a
you
trick
just
to it, and once you learn
you
it, you
just
can
have to do
master
the
it
same
pretty quickly.
pattern and then it gets it done. That's why you
See,
can
I
get the
thought it had to be solved, and so I thought this guy next door that lives across from me, I thought he was a genius because he could do it all the time. And then when I found out he was cheating, I was so mad at him. I went over there and I gave him a big lecture.
No, there's no cheating. You either solve it or you don't. Cheating is when you either remove the stickers, the colored stickers off, and then put them back in the right order, or you buy a set and do that, or you take the thing apart and put it together the way it in an unsolved state. That's how you cheat. There's also a mechanical cheat that people have done where they put the Rubik's cube in a device that can spin the three different axes, and they hit a button and the thing mixes it up, and then like in less than a second it solves it. And when I first saw that, I was like, "Holy shit, that's awesome!" And then I realized, no, they just play the mixing up in reverse. That's what they do. But yeah, you can cheat like that. But no, just solving a Rubik's cube isn't cheating, you jealous motherfuckers. Listen to this. I mean, these guys are hilarious.
but I
He
mean
gave the guy a lecture
that's
about
why
Rubik's cube.
but that's why you can get people that can do it blindfold. Actually,
Oh no, he will never admit he's wrong because that's what liars don't do ever.
just
Yeah, exactly.
All
I
right.
still
Or
The
in
the closest he's come is well, I could there's a possibility that I was wrong. That's the closest he's come.
3 seconds or whatever.
yeah, whatever. Okay, let's carry on.
I mean, even when he's shown how he's lied, how he's wrong to his face, like in the case of Luca, and yeah, he still won't admit it. He's just a pathetic fuck. That's all he is. A pathetic subhuman moron. Liar.
$1 a day from you.
Hey, Cygnus.
They're hiding the fact that there is a creator. They're hiding the fact by making fun of me.
How could people hide God from other people? How what kind of weak God do you worship that man can defeat him? How weak is your God? And why would you worship someone who can be defeated by mortals?
I saw an interesting thing today. Looking at this now, on Twitter, a guy built himself a like a little vacuum chamber in his backyard, and with a glove and everything, he used astronaut's glove, and he stuck his hand in there and he puts a vacuum.
Right. The glove wasn't engineered to be able to be manipulated under a vacuum. See, the gloves that they used were engineered for that specific purpose. So he's another liar like you who was showing fallacious evidence. And yeah, I called him out on it.
And when he puts the vacuum on, he
Couldn't
can't
move his
really
hand.
move his hand at all.
Wow.
So
But why didn't it suck his whole body into it, Flatsoy? That's what you said would happen if, like, you got a hole in the ISS. Everyone would just be sucked into it or sucked out of it, right? That's what you said. And that vacuum that he put his hand in was a lot more than 14 psi, which is about what the vacuum of space is. So, or the opposite of 14 psi. There's only a 14 psi change between the ISS and space. But that was hundreds of pounds of pressure he put on there. So why didn't that meet the prediction that you claim would happen?
What does that tell you? There's definitely something off about everything.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes, you idiots lie about reality, and that's what's off about it.
He says he really has to strain himself just to move his finger.
Mm. Wow.
That's not
And these
right.
guys apparently sit and do a spacewalk for what, like 4 hours?
Yeah, in engineered suits. Yes, engineered suits.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Makes so
It
much
does
sense.
work out. No.
Yeah.
They
Let's
must
just
have
hope
some
this guy
special
actually
jelly.
presents something with this video, though. Ooh, music. Ooh.
Definitely does remind me of the theme music in 300.
Think of it as a giant lake with all of the continents. What's beyond it? I don't know. What if we lived here? What if
That
this
was
is where we
these
lived?
five
Right there.
would be,
These are other ponds with their own suns. This makes sense.
Okay. Is he gonna do this the whole way through? Just put this stuff with music.
Most spacesuits operate at a pressure below normal atmospheric pressure, or 14.7 pounds per square inch, or 1 atmosphere. The space shuttle cabin also operates at normal atmospheric pressure. The spacesuit used by shuttle astronauts operates at 4.3 pounds per square inch, or 0.29 atm. So, yeah, if you're going to falsify a result, yeah, you're going to pump it up to or pump it down to like way below 0.29 atmospheres. So, see that's how they lie. That's how they cheat. They introduce variables that aren't there that make the experiment fail.
Nah. This is like the intro because he's making it like a grand, like the documentary.
Expose
Okay,
it.
maybe we can go.
So do we? I'm not going through. I'm not gonna fucking live stream him going through an 8-hour fucking video. I mean, it's a minute 14, and they're 45 minutes into the video. They've only gone through a minute and 14, and a minute of that was intro. So yeah, I'm not gonna do this. What we can do though is go through this lying sack of shits video.
Feast.
Actually, he's got a few that we haven't gone through. EQ mount is flat Earth evidence. So we got 7, 7, 3. Yeah, we could do this. This is from 9 months ago.
Okay, here we go. I'm making this diagram. I formed a line down here on the ground. This one would be the sky. We'll just say the sun, even though it's way bigger than what the sun would be.
Right. And what you're showing here is the sun getting smaller in angular size as it moves away from you. See here it fills up the whole thing. Here, not as much. Here, even less. And here, way, way less. It takes like almost 3 suns to make up this 10-degree angle. But right here, it's 10 degrees according to his chart here. So as it moves away over this horizontal plane, yeah, it gets smaller, which we don't see in reality, Gary. We never see that in reality, do we?
Now each of these
Hey, RT.
angles is 15, or what did I make it? 10 degrees. So here's straight up. Now if my lines aren't perfectly straight, who cares? But we'll say that's straight up, 10 degrees, 10 degrees.
Right, and as it moves away, it shrinks in angular size.
Now I do the same thing over here. There's 10 degrees, there's 10 degrees. So what we're going to see is the observers down here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So each parts of this sky contain different, or of the angles contains different amounts of actual sky.
So what's this arc here you drove this hemispheric arc? What's that, Gary?
Here you got 10 and 10. They're straight up above you. 10 to the side.
Why are there two suns there, Gary? Why do you have two circles drawn in each instance? Why is that?
10 to the side.
Yes, it's his personal dome. That's personal observational dome. That's what that is. He thinks that's somehow a real thing.
And you got the width of a little over 2 of my suns right there. Now farther down over here, I can get a...
You have a sun shrinking in angular size. That's what you have.
About 4.5 in
something that does not match reality.
There. Still 20 degrees down here to me. Just like this is 20 degrees. But because in the flat earth model...
But no, it's not. It's not, see?
Or at least my...
But why did you draw them apart here, but together here and here? Why did you do that, Gary? Why?
Version of it. The sky and everything in it is moving parallel to the plane of the earth down here, the ground. Now this, because there's way more distance in that 20 degrees of total space, it's going to take the sun, if it's moving across the sky, much longer to get through that space.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Gary. See, in reality, the sun moves at a constant speed. That's what it does in reality.
Then it...
See, this is EQ mount is flat Earth evidence.
Does this little space.
So, on a flat Earth, the angles to Polaris don't match latitude, which happens in reality, provably. So that right there proves that flat Earth cannot be real. Also, if you try and track a, see, this is a straight line here, but this is actually like the side view of a circle. And I've proven with Blender that, yeah, the sun, no object that has an oval shaped path in the sky, you can't track that in one axis, Gary. It's impossible. Which is what the EQ mount does, is tracks everything in the sky in one axis only. That's impossible on a flat Earth. Absolutely fucking impossible.
Now,
but again, for whatever you say, Gary, show us one citation in any science book, any physics book, any paper that agrees with you.
This is the reason why the EQ mount fails and begins to track inaccurately the sun or anything else as they go towards the horizon.
Because you have heavy refraction at the horizon, Gary. That's why we don't track things to the horizon or near the horizon. We pick objects that are higher up in the sky where refraction is minimal. That's how you track things with a telescope, Gary. But what about, and see, Gary and Brian Leakey are like, well, 10 degrees above the horizon and lower, you can't even track it right because it speeds up or slows down or some shit like that. But what about the other 170 degrees or 160 degrees? What about those, guys? What about that area? What about then? Oh, but 10 degrees above the horizon slows down. Come on, man.
The EQ mount is basically set on a timer, 15 degrees.
I mean, do you know why the EQ mount was created, Gary? Do you have any idea? It's because the Earth spins. That's the only reason why it was created. We can keep objects centered in the frame with a Dobsonian, but in order to keep things upright in the frame and and oriented the correct way in the frame so you don't get a shift, you have to have an EQ mount that spins at the same rate the Earth spins, but in the exact opposite direction. That's proof enough right there. So, yeah.
Degrees per hour.
And how would you align an equatorial telescope on a flat Earth? What would you align it to? See, in reality, we align it to Polaris, and that equals latitude. But what would you align it to? So when we align it with Polaris, we're aligning it parallel to the rotational axis of the Earth. That's what you align an equatorial telescope to. There is no polar rotational axis of the Earth on a flat Earth. So what would you align it to, Gary?
Right? So it's just continuously going. It's not slowing down for anything. It's just going to go in this arc right here at 15 degrees per hour.
No, see, this would mean you're at the equator, and see, this is not the path it would take. So, yeah, it would be impossible to track this object in one axis only, Gary. I mean, you're showing it right there, man. You're showing it right here. But you're not smart enough to realize that you just debunked yourself. I hate to use a phrase that Flatzoid uses, but it's true. You're showing evidence against you, Gary.
So,
and you're assuming that the Earth is flat and stationary. You're assuming that. You're assuming that that's what happens, and you're building a straw man based on that.
Because there's actually much further.
Oh, they understand refraction when it works in their favor, but not as a general rule. They ignore it, like with the black swan, or in this case, with this. They ignore it when they don't like it, right? It's the buffet. Science is a buffet to these people. They just pick and choose what they want to believe. Oh, I don't like that. That's Brussels sprouts. I don't like Brussels sprouts. Oh, hey, I like this part. Let's rename this that I don't like.
Further space to go through here, the sun is going to seem to be hanging up.
But it doesn't. It doesn't, Gary. See, and to show you that it's merely refraction that's the cause, you can set your telescope to track the sun. Now, it may not keep up with it perfectly at the horizon because of refraction, but if you let that sucker go, it's going to meet up at the opposite horizon the next morning and then keep going and following it perfectly. See, it's a slowdown, a momentary optical slowdown. It isn't actually physically slowing down, Gary. It's just refraction makes it look like that. So
now the globe earthers, the Wolfies and the Bob the Science guys and NASA shrills and guys like that will say.
I mean, do you think that pronouncing a person's name wrong hurts their feelings or has any effect whatsoever? It just makes you look like a child, a spoiled, feelings hurt child.
It's because of refraction. And I believe Wolfie said it could be up to 1.5 degrees. And so they'll actually end up telling you that
So you're going by what Wolfie says. Why are you accepting what he says in that situation but ignoring everything else he says? Why are you cherry picking? Why are you quote mining Wolfie? Why? Why, Gary? Why?
the sun actually has gone down, but we're seeing it refracted back up. So that's their magical potion to explain why the sun hangs up.
So Gary, extend this out like a long, long ways, and then bring the sun along that line, and tell me how far you have to go with that line to make the sun be here. How long? How long do you have to move out before the sun is right here or here? or here? How far? Go ahead and do that, Gary. Make a video on that. See, I've done it. I did it, and prove that you're a dumb shit.
The EQ mount.
That a setting sun can never work on a flat Earth ever. See, I've proven that.
Keeps on arcing down as if the sun went down when it's still up. Well, it's because of these foreshortened angles. The sky.
Oh, foreshortened angles. No, those are 10-degree angles. Those are 10-degree angles. Why do you have two suns, Gary? That's the big question. Why do you have two suns here? Are there two suns in real life? No, there isn't, is there?
It's a lot more sky contained in those 20 degrees than the amount of sky in these 20 degrees.
Right, but if you put this on a globe and you make the sun, appear in the sky around the globe like it does in real life, each one of these is going to fill the same amount of space no matter where it is. No matter where it is. Okay? So you're proving the flat Earth wrong right here. You're proving that flat Earth does not match reality, Gary. You're saying that in order for the sun to set, this parallel line would have to cross this parallel line. These would have to converge at some point to make the sun be at the horizon. See, it never will if it's up here. You'll never have to look further down than what you're looking at here. You could never look down and see the sun go below the horizon on a flat Earth, Gary. The mere fact that you can't understand that shows how ignorant and dishonest you are.
That's a foreshortening effect. When the angles become more acute down here, it gets worse and worse. And that's why when they track stars and stuff and planets and all the other things for astrophotography, they prefer to stay more in the middle part of the sky.
Right, because the refraction isn't as heavy there. Refraction is only an issue below 25 degrees above the horizon. That's the general rule. So,
the high points, because there's less change, and so they can get their pictures. They don't track from horizon to horizon. Now, I remember when all these guys, back when I first became a flat.
No, it tracks the sun. It tracks the sun, and it's like I said, it can change a little at the horizons, but that thing's going to be right on track when it comes back around the next day. So that's proof right there that the refraction has nothing to do with the speed of the sun. Nothing to do with it, Gary. It's just an optical effect. Fucking idiot.
Flat earther, they would say, guys like Wolfie, that an EQ mount proves the globe because it can track on a one-axis rotation from horizon to horizon. In fact, they said it can go all the way back around.
Yes, and he's shown that. He's proven that, Gary. He's proven that. He had his telescope out on his balcony in Hawaii or where, I don't know where it was, some fucking nice place. But yeah, he tracked the sun for 24 hours and it came right around to the exact same place it was, Gary, and they lined up perfectly. So you're stupid. You're dishonest and you're a liar.
And still be on track. Well, we don't see.
Well, nothing. He showed it, man. He showed it.
Yeah, and Wolfie and Bob actually did a video explaining the problems with the EQ mount near the horizons. Of course, and they say that they have a fix for it, and it's called the King's rate.
Yeah.
All the King's rate is an adjustment in the rotational speed. So instead of rotating at 15
right, because of refraction. So
degrees per hour, it slows down because that's the only way it can track the sun from one end to the other. It can't do it at 15 degrees per hour.
Right, at the horizon, Gary. But for the other 160 degrees in the sky, it can. So you're forgetting about that. You don't want to talk about that part, do you? You don't want to talk about that part. You just want to talk about the part that you think proves your narrative, and it doesn't. So
Because the Earth is flat, it's not a globe. The EQ mount was designed for a globe, but it fails.
right, it was. It was designed for a globe, and it does not fail, Gary. You think it does because you're a fucking idiot, and you're dishonest as shit. So, I mean, you got a lot of flurf, right? So, anyway, what we have here is we can watch Dave McKeegan. So actually proves him wrong here. So see, like this telescope here, Gary, we had these all along, just ones you point. But these track things on 2 axes, right? Because you don't have to polar align them. See, that's what you're doing with an EQ mount. You're polar aligning the telescope. You're aligning it parallel to the polar rotation of the Earth. You don't have that on a flat Earth. What are you going to align it to? And like I said, I've shown in Blender on my other channel that you cannot track an object in 1 degree on a circular route or an oval route, which is what the route of the sun takes the further away from the North Pole you get. So, don't know why you can't accept evidence. And I do. You're a dishonest fuck. That's why.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I forgot about Naha. Yeah, Naha trumps all evidence.
I hope you're all doing well, and thank you for joining us today.
I'll be right back.
In a recent video I did in response to Flat Earth and Nathan Oakley, I briefly showed this equatorial camera mount and mentioned about them being used for photographing the night sky. Subsequently, there were a few people expressing interest in learning more about them. So in this video, we're going to look at why you would use them, how they're able to function, and crucially, why, if the Earth was actually flat, they wouldn't be able to work. Now, when it comes to viewing the night sky, even if we go into the middle of nowhere, well away from all forms of light pollution, our eyes just physically can't see anywhere near the number of stars that you see in photographs. That's because our eyes are seeing things in real time, and some of the stars are incredibly dim. As in, we don't get much light from them. I'm not suggesting that the stars are stupid. I wouldn't know, I've never met them. So if there aren't enough photons from a particular star entering our eye, then our brain can't distinguish that the star is there at all. Cameras kind of work on the same basic principle in that they have a sensor with millions of photosites like the receptors in our eye. Now when photons enter a photosite, it generates a small charge. More photons equals a higher charge. At the end of a photograph, the camera will measure the amount of charge in each photosite and assign a value to it to turn it into a digital signal. For example, if it detects no measurable charge, it will assign it a 0, which tells any computer that that pixel is to be jet black. And if it reaches the maximum charge that that photosite can handle, then it assigns a number like 255, and that tells a computer that that pixel is pure white. So for stars to be clear in an image, you want a high enough charge being generated by that particular photosite that it creates a clear, bright spot in the image, rather than something that's just barely above dark grey and looks like a smudge. Thankfully though, unlike the human eye, cameras are not limited to seeing things in real time. They can gather up lots of light for a single image just by leaving the sensor exposed for longer. However, we then hit the hurdle that the stars aren't staying fixed. They instead appear to move across the sky. So if our camera is in a fixed position relative to the ground, like say on a static tripod, then each star will slowly drift from one photosite to the next, and so the total amount of light for that exposure will be spread between different pixels rather than all focused into one. This is what causes motion blur in images, and when stars blur, we often refer to it as star trails. Now, the amount of blur that we would see will depend on our viewing angle. A wider viewing angle means that each photosite covers a larger part of the sky, so a star would have to travel further across the sky before it moved into the next pixel. Whereas a longer focal length magnifies everything, including how quickly stars appear to move across the frame. and so they would cross over pixels much sooner. As a rough guide, photographers will often divide the number 500 by their effective focal length to tell them approximately how many seconds they can expose for with a camera before they start to get noticeable star trails. For example, a 20mm focal length would allow about 25 seconds of exposure time, whilst a 200mm focal length would allow only 2.5 seconds. But if you want to photograph deep space objects such as galaxies or nebulas and the likes, then you ideally want a very long focal length in order to see as much detail as possible. But such long focal lengths would then create very short exposure times. This is where motorized mounts can solve the problem. And speaking of solving problems,
and they say, well, it's motorized. It's programmed in. It's programmed in. It's programmed to follow. No, equatorial telescope mounts originally were hand cranked. You had to actually keep the thing in a reticle at a crosshair. You actually had to keep it on the crosshair as you turned, as your assistant turned it. Turn the wheels. So, yeah.
Like the problem of trying to come up with a good segue to the sponsor of this video, Atlas VPN is a great way to solve the problem of staying.
But if you're a gamer, you don't want a VPN because a lot of game cheat engines cheat software detects a VPN as a cheat.
So. Not just your computer, but even in countries. You'll then why not have fixed in reference to the via the link in the description. Now, the purpose of a motorized mount is to move your camera or telescope such that it remains fixed in reference to the stars rather than to the ground. Now, if you set this up correctly, it means you could leave your camera pointing at a particular star for hours at a time, and the star would remain perfectly fixed on your camera sensor. Now, there are different types of trackers. You can get guided ones, such as this telescope mount, which has motors that control both its rotation and the telescope's elevation. And you set this up by selecting 2 or 3 stars as a reference in the handset, and then you point the scope at each of those reference points, and from that, the handset can work out exactly where you are in the world and where everything else is in the sky. I could then say on this that I want to view the Andromeda Galaxy, and it would drive the telescope round to it and keep it tracked. But, you know, people could argue that that's possible on a flat Earth since the telescope knows where everything is.
Yeah, it is possible because it tracks in two directions, in 2 axes.
This equatorial mount, however, isn't as fancy. With this, you have to face it either directly north or south, depending on which hemisphere you're in. You then wind this elevation dial to match whatever your latitude is. So if you're at, say, the North Pole, you're at 90 degrees north elevation, you wind this dial until you get to...
I like that rack and pinion. That's nice.
90 degrees, and the mount is pointing straight up towards Polaris. If you're at around a 45 degrees latitude on Earth, and that puts you somewhere around, say, Bordeaux, for example, you wind 45 degrees onto this mount, and you can see, relative to the globe, the mount is still pointing straight up towards Polaris.
Yep.
Likewise, at the equator, it's at 0 degrees, and again means the mount is pointing up towards Polaris.
I mean, it's basically a fancier version of my Polaris model.
Perfectly on the equator, you also have the option of being able to point south as well, not just north. Obviously, if you're south of the equator, you then have to point this directly south. Now, in the northern hemisphere, Polaris isn't exactly where the axis of rotation is. It circles just around it. And our perspective of this will shift depending on where you're viewing it from. So you use an app like Polaris View, which takes your phone's GPS data and time information and will work out where Polaris is relative to the axis of rotation for your...
See, flat earthers think you put Polaris dead center. That's what they think. Polaris doesn't move. It doesn't make this little circle in the sky.
Your vantage point, and you fine-tune the mount by using the spotter scope on the back to align Polaris up accordingly to where it should be relative to the axis of rotation. Once you've aligned it, this mount is then perfectly parallel to the axis of rotation for the sky. At that point, you turn the motor on and it will begin turning the mount plate up here, which is where the camera is connected to. And provided you've selected the star setting on the side, it will spin this plate at 15 degrees per hour, which perfectly cancels out the Earth's rotation and will leave your camera perfectly fixed relative to the stars with no drift. You do sometimes need a few attempts to get the alignment exactly right, and if you're in the southern hemisphere, you might need a wing and a prayer as well. It can be done, but it just takes a little bit more work because there's not as clear a pole star to reference as Polaris.
Right, but you have a what's a pole finder or pole? It's a camera that you mount to your telescope, to the mount. It replaces the polar telescope. Most telescopes have an additional little scope mounted in the mount itself at the rotational point. And you look through that, and that's where you get the alignment of the mount. Normally, you don't look through the telescope. On that one, you'd have to look through the telescope because it doesn't have that scope. Let me see. EQ mount. I can show it better than I can describe it. Yeah, right here. This right here, this cap, that's a cap over a scope, a telescope that runs directly down the middle of the rotational axis. And that's what you sight in Polaris with. You don't even have to put the telescope on the mount. But what you can get is, I don't know what it's called. Couple companies make them. Yeah, right here. Polemaster. This mounts in place of that. You get a mounting kit. You get this. This attaches to that hole. Then this connects to that, and this covers this up so it doesn't get dust on it. Doesn't get dust in it. But you put this in place, and this has software that it will analyze what it looks like, what the sky looks like, and it will tell you to raise your telescope up or move it left or right, or change the elevation or the azimuth of the mount. And it's really a dandy thing, and it gets you right on pretty much.
You end up somewhere near BQ Octantis. And you also need to select on the side whether you're aligning to the north or south polar axis, because this will change what direction the camera's rotating. Yeah. Now, if the Earth were flat, well, the direction change shouldn't be necessary because on a flat surface, the stars should all be moving in the same direction across the sky. Mm-hmm. More crucially, this method of alignment is completely wrong for a flat Earth. We're not trying to align to a specific star. We need to align ourselves parallel to the axis of rotation in order to be able to counteract it. For example, if you were standing on a merry-go-round and you wanted to keep a point around you of the world in your frame, then you would turn yourself in the opposite direction to the merry-go-round, but whilst you're standing on it, parallel to the merry-go-round's axis of rotation. So we're not aligning directly to a pole star. We're using the star and our time and location information to work out where the axis of rotation is pointing to relative to us at any given time. Well, the axis of rotation for stars on a flat Earth should always be perpendicular to the ground. So these mounts should always just be facing straight up rather than faffing with trying to angle it in a specific direction. A flat Earth would essentially just be aligning as though you're always at the North Pole. Yet on the equator, this thing has to be angled horizontally, either north or south, to align with the axis of rotation, which is only happening if the equator is perpendicular to the North Pole. Otherwise, it would be like trying to counter the rotation of a merry-go-round by lying down and rolling around on it. It's worth bearing in mind as well, this isn't a smart tracker. It doesn't know where it's positioned or what it's looking at. It works without any form of internet connection or GPS location. It's just a single plane motorized mount that will turn the same regardless of where you point it. It just so happens that it only creates the result you want when you've aligned it perfectly with one of the two axes of rotations in the sky. And the only way that you can have two opposing axes of rotations that can be found in this manner with elevation angles is if you're located on the outside of a ball. So that is going to draw this video to a close. Once again, thank you to Atlas VPN for sponsoring.
Pretty simple. Pretty simple, Gary. Why can't you understand it? Optical compression. Oh, this is interesting. Actually, he had one before that. Let's watch this one.
I'm going to show a very simple perspective issue that keeps coming up in arguments, and I'm going to show here, or actually critical things going to show.
See, it only comes up in arguments because you're too thick to understand it, Gary. We keep having to educate you on it, but you're too ignorant to be educated, too dishonest.
Now, he's going to give a different excuse for it, but he's going to show how the simple change of elevation will compress the image. You'll have other ways of doing that, like moving away from it, but the whole thing will start to compress. It includes
Right, all at once, Gary. All at once, not half of it.
the side to side will compress as well as top to bottom. But in this is the only thing that's going to change is the top to bottom.
No, Gary, no. It always works both ways. It's not how perspective works. It's not how the Rayleigh criterion works.
The lengthwise, the sideways, lengthwise, is not going to change at all.
Gone out, and I've done here what is possibly great.
So you're saying perspective only works top to bottom, doesn't work left or right. Is that what you're saying, Gary?
Groundbreaking research in the area of refraction. Now, I don't think anybody has done this before. I've never seen it before anyway. This
is talking about refraction, Gary, not obstruction.
Unique. This is a day of high refraction, and getting a few of those days lately. This ship, this picture is taken from a height of 15 meters, and just by looking at the proportions of the ship, there's already some refraction going on there. But then I take another picture from lower down.
Okay. He calls it a high refraction day, but look at the picture. It's very clear. Refraction is a non-issue. Compression is an issue, but here we go. And he just said...
compression is an issue. What?
This picture right here was taken from 15 meters elevation, where he was at.
Second picture, I haven't showed it yet, but this second picture I will overlay is taken from...
Okay, this is the second picture. Now, if you do a screenshot of each one and then just measure from that middle crane, the top of it, to just below the H there on the words on the side. And do it on both pictures, and it's a significant difference.
Yes, because of refraction. That's why, Gary.
He did was changed elevation from 15 meters to he'll say inches above the water.
Yes, it's also parallax that makes them appear shorter. So,
but notice here how the words are still there, but they're very compressed compared to the previous picture.
Yeah.
Notice you can still see the space at the bottom underneath the letters. That little red slice there, it's just compressed. But the whole thing is compressed.
Yes, it is. But what happens when a ship goes off into the distance and it's not compressed? That the letters have the same proportion, but it's being obstructed bottom up. What about then, Gary?
Right a few inches above the water. And I'll run this a little bit slower. Right, let's bring this into the middle, and we'll blink test this This one right on the...
And by the way, the length remains the same in both pictures.
Right, Gary, because refraction doesn't work left or right. It works up and down because that's the gradient of our atmosphere. Our atmosphere is not gradient this way. God, it's like trying to teach a toddler.
That doesn't change at all. Because the only thing he changed was elevation. He didn't move away, because if he had moved away from it, it would have compressed inward more. It would have shrunk from the sideways views as well as the vertical.
Water, a few inches above the water, and from 15 metres high. Now, the thing to note here is that the sea level appears to rise in relation to the cranes that are higher.
The sea level doesn't rise. When he goes...
Yes, the water level tends to rise when you drop lower. Yes, Gary. Yeah, the horizon doesn't rise to eye level. Okay?
Goes down, his horizon comes closer because he's got a lower angle over the surface compared to when he was 15 meters high. That's the only change in the water. Look at the water right here in this picture.
So tell us you don't understand perspective without saying the words, Gary.
You can see detail on the top of the water, little wavelets or whatever. Or you can just see that there's movement on the water. But watch what happens when he goes back to the other one. It looks smooth. That's because he's got a...
See, this is what happens when you get your education from cattle.
higher elevation, and he's actually seeing at a much further point over the water until he can't see detail anymore.
Out of the water, and they wouldn't be subject to the same amount of refraction as right over the water. So there is compression there. Now we know that there's Earth curve there, so this is actually loomed up over the curve.
No, we don't know there's a curve there.
Yes, we do. We measured it, Gary. The Earth has been measured as spherical for over 2,000 years. Your denial, fuck you. Fuck you and your denial. Okay? Your denial, your opinions, doesn't trump reality.
There's no curve. You see everything still there. It's just compressed.
Curve. And even if you're not going to believe for religious reasons that there is a curve, then you have some explaining to do. So you need to explain how this can happen when there is no curve. That's definitely compressed. So you're going to have to work out how does that compression happen. So you're going to have to admit that there's refraction. Refraction that causes light to bend down, causing...
Okay, the only explanation is the angle over the surface.
No, the angle over the surface doesn't matter, Gary. The whole thing is in your field of view. The angle to the water is meaningless. You keep bringing this up. You keep thinking that it's the angle to the surface of the water that changes things, and it doesn't, Gary. That's just part of your line of sight. That's just part of your field of view. It has nothing to do with how anything above it is going to look. It's just part of the view. I mean, are you that fucking stupid? Seriously, are you that ignorant? Like I said, show us one citation that fucking agrees with you, man, and I'll lay off. Show us one valid citation from a science book, a physics book, optics book, paper written on the subject that agrees with you. Show me. You can't, can you, Gary? You avoid that, don't you, Gary? Because you know that you're talking bullshit, and you know that you can't back up your bullshit with anything. Oh, you got rubber bands.
Went from 15 meters to inches. You changed the conditions. You changed the depth and distance. So when...
No, you didn't, Gary. No, you didn't. The distance is still the same. The depth is still the same, Gary. What the fuck are you talking about, you liar? You ignorant, sausage-fingered liar.
When you're lower, the horizon is actually sooner. You're hitting a point sooner over the water where you no longer have a sufficient angle over the water to see any more detail.
What are you talking about? The water is below your eye line, motherfucker. Tell us you don't understand geometry without saying the words. How can a flat plane, how can a flat surface, right? You got something here, and then you're here. Both of you things are above it. How is this blocking your fucking view, moron? It's physically impossible for that to happen, idiot. I mean, seriously, man. Okay, dumbass. Let's try and make this as simple as fucking possible for your illiterate ass. Here we've got your flat ocean, right? There's flat. Here's you looking right here. Here's you. Here's a boat on that ocean. Your line of sight to the boat is there and there. The only way that this boat can be blocked by anything, Gary, is if something is in this line of sight, if something is above this line right here. That's the only way that any part of this boat could be blocked. Now, you tell me how a flat surface can get within this triangle or this cone of vision. You tell me, Gary. How does that happen? How does that fucking happen? And it doesn't matter where you are, man. Oop. Don't want to do that. See, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're right there, dude. That water is not going to be within your line of sight. So it can't block it, dumb shit. God, you're an ignorant fuck. You really are.
At the surface. So anything that's moved past that point is going to compress into it.
No, it won't, dumb fuck. I just showed you where it won't. Why it's impossible for it to fucking do that. My God, you're an ignorant shithead. You really are.
Okay, I'm going to do a quick video.
So yeah, tell us, Gary, where along this line is this line within this cone of vision? Where, Gary? Here, doesn't matter. There is no way that this line can block your view of that thing. Okay? I just proved you wrong right here. As a matter of fact, you're proving yourself wrong right here. It doesn't matter what this angle is, idiot. It doesn't matter what this angle is. Doesn't fucking matter. You're an idiot who doesn't understand optics or perspective. You're just stupid. I mean, seriously, man. And he invokes Rayleigh criterion like he understands what the fuck that is. Rayleigh criterion is an optical compression, you dumbass. See, in Rayleigh criterion, it affects the entire object in totality, not just the top half of it or the bottom half of it, asshole. Again, show us a citation that says Rayleigh criterion only affects the bottom half of something.
East.
So this is his newest one. It's 1:37 seconds long. And let's just see how ignorant this dumb motherfucker is.
Why the eclipse works on a flat circle Earth. And why the shadow went from southwest to northeast. Well, they rose approximately 3 minutes apart. The moon was up first, 3 minutes earlier than the sun. So the sun is behind the moon. The sun at this time is slightly north of the moon when they rose. It rose at 80 degrees. The moon rose at 82 degrees. So anyhow, throughout the day, the moon makes a tighter elliptical orbit than the sun.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Sorry, pal. You just lied.
So what happens is it's going to move across the path of the sun, and by 10:30, for around 10:30, I think the moon crosses in front. If you can read my notes, the moon crosses in front of the sun and is now north of the sun. The sun is still catching up to it, but shortly after that, the sun passed by the moon. So then the moon is now northeast of the sun, which is why the shadow is going to go that direction. Because the sun has passed the moon, but the moon has crossed its path and is now north of the sun.
So you just described why the shadow is moving in the wrong direction. So it's impossible for it to happen on a flat Earth, Gary. You can't predict the 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 location of a eclipse with a Saros cycle. Um, I've proven with Blender that a equatorial telescope cannot track anything on a flat Earth. So, except for Polaris, it could track Polaris. That's it. That's the only thing in the sky that an equatorial telescope mount could track on a flat Earth is Polaris. So, you're just an idiot, Gary. You're an obstinate, dumb motherfucker who thinks you're smarter than everyone, but for some reason you can't answer a question, you can't provide a citation, and you just lie. Just lie. You've been shown the truth. You've been educated on everything, but you just fucking lie, Gary. And it's disgusting. It really is. So anyway, this is a short one. I'm not going to give this guy any more air. He doesn't deserve air. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. As always, be seeing you.